Hi, everyone, and welcome to Quantum Art with your host, Wendy, from the Indigo Doors. I am the artist and channeler. My goal is to bring in new information from other higher dimensional planes to help us with this awakening process. I'm always surprised about what comes out, and this month has been no exception, though it is near the end of October. Part of that is we just got back from Tucson, Arizona for an amazing spiritual retreat. Very magical. Words can't express truly the experience there, but it was amazing, and we can't wait to come back. If you haven't visited Tucson, the energy there is really great. This message comes to you with so much love. There's so much kind of chaos going on outside of us, possibly. You might be experiencing that. And the message that's coming through, no matter when you find this video, is pretty specific in regards to following your own path, really going within and cultivating a new reality based on your own authentic truth. You have a lot of help, and that was definitely clear. And in the painting, they had me specifically paint in a certain way using sacred geometry and other techniques to make sure that the frequency that was coming through was really strong. So here's the painting. It's called Starborn Portal, partly because of the influence of Sirius A and C. They really wanted to be known this month, these sentient beings from this star from Sirius. And for those of you that have known energies that say they are from there, it has a very unique frequency. It's a very high consciousness planet. So if you could just breathe that in, it truly is of a higher energetic plane. And in some ways, they really want to assist with creating a new reality. We're being asked to create a new reality, and that is partly why they're assisting us here. And to create a new reality is way simpler said than done, though some people can kind of jump and kind of say, hey, they're going to embody this new identity. And sometimes we do that without even our own knowing, because our brain doesn't remember who we were before. But in this way, it's more of a collaboration. It is a co-creative process that they're asking us to do. Partly, it helps weave light in denser energetic areas, and partly, we're meant to experience it fully. So you may be experiencing challenging times because of that, like this alteration between old and new. We talked a little bit more about that last month, but this month you can see here with this golden reel, this golden orb that's hiding or coming out from behind the tree. This they're showing is the splitting off of realities, the splitting off from old earth to new earth. And so there are remnants. There's a little bit of a tail there from the old earth. But if you did choose, and you are aware or even watching this video, you are probably in this new earth reality. And these words are so limiting. In some ways, Brenda and I really hate that language around it. But there are no other words or ways to describe shifting in such a dramatic fashion to where it's such a different frequency. Meaning you're no longer part of old societal paradigms. You're not in the old victimization paradigm. And so with that, there's this new paradigm. And paradigm, it basically means rules and ways of functioning, how you relate to people, how do you relate to reality, what your habits are, what your physical behaviors are, what your mental behaviors are, what your emotional behaviors are. So a new paradigm, and we've been talking about this for years, shifting into the new paradigm, is really where you're taking responsibility for your life completely. And I feel like that's really what this painting is about. This orb that's splitting off, and why it's orange and yellow specifically, is because it is associated with our sacral and our power chakras. And the root is here represented by Sirius C, which is kind of a red dwarf star, and you can kind of see it in the upper corner there. Just to help ground some of this energy. So it is needed. it is kind of a secondary player. We've already kind of discussed the root and how to feel safe and how to cultivate how to take care of your physical needs and how to do all of these things. It being orange and yellow, since we've already dealt with the root, and if you need help with your root and like taking care of your physical needs, following your own rhythm, feeling safe, kind of releasing old karmic patterns, there's other videos and other paintings in regards to that. This one truly is about, it is specific about orange and yellow, and it really is about remembering who you are. So I can't talk about the orange and the yellow without talking about the tree, because they are one of the same. In some ways, it is this is what the light is. This is what this light in this painting is this tree. And this tree is your spiritual self. It is your spiritual tree. If you don't know, if you've never heard of that before, it basically is, the tree is a symbol of all of your lives that you've ever lived in, all of the wisdom, all of your karma, basically your Akashic records. But it's symbolized here in a tree, and it's your authentic expression and why you came. Like, you did choose to come here on this planet at this time to experience this great awakening, and there is a specific reason as to why. A lot of people are being awoke, if that's a word, or awakened, to where they're being asked to live out this unique purpose, because we are meant to do things differently. In this new paradigm, we're needing you to follow your intuition. We're doing things that have never been done before, and though that could be said of every time, this is really a unique space because it is a combination of spiritual gifts, psychic gifts, and just utilizing this new connection to spirit and really supporting what it is that you hear and what you feel and what you see and backing it up fully. It is about trusting this invisible plane in a way that you might not have been doing in the past. That's why this new paradigm, or this is why it's hard to jump for the psyche, because you are really being asked to let go of an old way of being that, depending on your age, you may have been behaving or participating in this older paradigm for decades. And maybe you're a new soul, meaning like you're younger, and not meaning younger in just younger in a physical form, not saying that that's your soul's age, but maybe you are younger to where you haven't participated in these old paradigms. You're not holding that older frequency. And so shifting into this new frequency and what I am transmitting will be easier for you. And so that's really what this tree represents. It's really your authenticity. It is your magic, your wisdom, your voice. And it's really precious, and it's really sacred, and it's really quiet. And so in some ways I want you to just feel that, what that means. It's humble, and that's partly what the mouse is. It is quiet because it is so vulnerable in this way. That's what we're really being asked to find or really access. And for those of you, that's what we're really being asked to tap into. For some, that is, you might know exactly what I'm talking about, and you're just really trying to integrate how to cultivate that more and more into your reality. And that's amazing. For some, you that are listening, you might not even really recognize what it is that your purpose or your passion is. What is your unique thing? And that's where that light is helpful, the light in the painting. Partly it is meant for you to meditate with and kind of access on your own through meditation, because behind it is sacred geometry, and so it's painted in a specific way to allow a different or unique frequency to come through. And so if you have an experience with the painting, please share that below. But for those of you that are more intellectual and you you don't necessarily want to interact with the painting in that way. Just looking at the symbolism of the orange and the yellow. So the sacral chakra and the solar plexus. Let's start with the sacral chakra. It really is the space where our creativity is, our sexuality is. It is the birthplace of ideas. It is the womb space. So it is life and death. It is power. It is the storehouse of our emotions, our emotional experiences. No matter if you are male or female, this is the case. So it is important for you to balance the space, really get to know moving your hips, right? Your hips is the sacral area, and being able to move forward, right? Being able to move freely in life. So it's attached to your essence. So it's attached to, where everything and anything is possible. So it's attached to possibilities. It's attached to belief in everything. There's an innocence to it. There is such a magic and a power to this space. And we activate this space. It is part of the Kundalini awakening, but it's also really about creating a safe space, and that's where the root is important because it houses the sacral, to where you have your authentic expression. You are free to kind of feel what it is that you need to feel, because our feelings are really connected to our authenticity. Meaning our feelings don't lie. If you don't like something, you can't fake it. Now, you might not be aware based on your trauma of what it is that you like or don't like or what your feelings are, but practicing becoming aware of how you feel is going to be essential. And partly to get this machine running. I like to look at chakra systems as machines in some ways because it helps my brain to kind of get them flowing. It's not about avoiding emotions. Emotions are a huge piece of our human experience. It's about allowing them to flow. So as they're arising, you feel them, you express them, and then you let them go. That is how this machine should be running. Now, if you are like me, part of a culture that emotions don't have a place, or they were shamed or disregarded, this is a space that we have to balance out. And so it is the outside of the circle. So it's the foundation. It's really important. So even if you have an idea of what your authentic expression is, making sure that this space is well maintained, because it's one thing to be aware, it's another to actually take care of. And that's part of this divine femininity that's awakening on the planet. Part of the spiritual awakening is really learning how to nurture yourself. So how are you nurturing yourself emotionally? How are you nurturing yourself sexually? How are you nurturing yourself in an authentic way that's right for you? And so it is about creating a space for you to have this expression. Partnering that with your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is, your power chakra, your power center. It is partly this space in your being where you have access to the great I am. It's yellow like the sun for a reason. Though I argue that our hearts are the bridge between our soul and our physical form. Older belief systems feel that it is the solar plexus where we have access to this energy. And in some ways, I agree. It is the space where we experience control, so an exertion of our power. And this space, too, needs to be balanced out and healed, part of the collective consciousness, because we have experienced abuse of power. We do experience abuse of power in a lot of the systems in our culture where we don't have a say, right? This is the space that's associated with freedom. So do you allow freedom for yourself? And do you allow freedoms for others? And, do you always have to be right? Or can you allow for other people to have a different experience than you? And this has obviously been abused, especially with this rise of narcissistic behavior, or becoming aware of those behaviors, of where we might not have had good representations of what this freedom looks like. This is a theme for the beginning of this year when I channeled a painting, that this was going to be looked at throughout this year. So it doesn't surprise me that it's still here, and it's coming up in regards to, where are you free? And now it's related to your sacral. Where are you free to express who you truly are? Where are you free to allow yourself, your needs to be met, right? So do you allow your needs to be met? Are you receiving? Right? Is it overactive where you're just doing, and you're not really taking a breather and assessing what it is that you need to feel or to know or to be? Right? This exertion of doing is this out of balance culture, and out of balance personally in our own lives maybe. So you're really being asked to balance these two areas of your life out. Ultimately, you have a sense of who you are based off your sacral. You're creating safety, and then you can express it. You can back it up and with this great I am. So who are you choosing to be? Your personality. This is where astrology, I do love astrology, though I don't follow it to the T. It really does have an influence over our personality and the personality that we chose. So based off the alignments of the stars, when we chose to come into this framework, this energetic framework of reality, that's where astrology does have an impact. Your personality, you chose that. So why did you choose that? This personality is this expression of the great I am. So your I am expression is important. That's partly why you came. So really getting to know who you are, and what you like and what you don't like, it's so important. And it just matters. It partly matters to your purpose, and it partly matters for you to kind of create a happy and flowing kind of life or reality. So partnering those two energies with this support, see how this energy from the star, from Sirius, is coming in, supporting this identity, this new identity. And you can see that it's infusing it with blues and purples, so higher frequency light, and kind of shifting how maybe your expression and maybe your awareness from your third eye of your reality. It really is meant to shift maybe how or what you say, and then how you see reality. That's ultimately like the consequence of really following and balancing these two pieces. The split from old earth affected our lower three chakras the most. And so in that way, we're having to integrate this new reality consciously in these spaces by really aligning everything with love and light, by allowing whatever is arising, these old feelings or old habits or old belief systems, allowing them to come up, honoring them, and then choosing something else. We don't deny or avoid, we embrace and love. And then when we have done that enough, we kind of like a child, we teach it something else. We teach it a better way, if there is such a thing, a different way. So the energy from Sirius is, there are obviously a lot of other things to it. You're meant to experience the painting and get information yourself. So I'm not meant to kind of share every little nuance in that, but just know that it was painted in a very specific way, in regards to degrees and lengths and all sorts of stuff. So let's get to the tree, shall we? So the tree is alive, right? It's totally alive. You can even like feel it in the bark and such. So it is this conscious energy, this who you are. It's so much bigger than your physical body. So tapping into reality itself, where consciousness is light, and you can really create whatever it is that you want. But you can't really see it here, maybe you can. The tree is floating, okay? It's floating out in the universe. It's floating out in the universe. And so in that way, that's how it feels. Like it's really empty and vast and a little scary because there's no groundedness. We have to create our groundedness, right? And be okay with how things feel very different. It's like being aware of the earth floating out in space. Like if you could really feel that, right? Instead, you're focusing on the earth itself and you feel safe and comforted. So the tree, as you kind of experience these other things, and it impacts the tree, it lights up this tree. And in so doing, lighting up this tree, becoming aware of your essence, becoming aware of who you truly are, it opens this portal to this other world. And notice that it's in the tree. So it's not outside of you. And there is a little bit of a paradox here because obviously I'm showing you the star outside of us and it's impacting. And then also it's the same color as this portal is within the tree. So it is like as above, so below. It is this little bit of play on words and for you to discover what that means yourself. So this portal, you're meant to access within you. And you only know where that is as you really discover who you are. And not just discover. It's a daily practice. It's habits. It's like, are you going in within each day and really checking in with your heart and your mind? Your higher self, your heart, are leading you on this path to ascension. And path to ascension sounds so big, but it really is this, your healing path, your discovery of self. And so every day in your now, and that's why the now is so important, becoming present with, really experiencing consciousness, really experiencing who you are and going within. And it really does open up your soul, opens up your being to this other reality. And it's for you to discover. And there are infinite amounts of doorways and things in there for those of you that meditate or do transcendental meditation. You know what I'm talking about. It's not just about that. You could be doing it through meditation or prayer or mindfulness. It's not just about moving beyond the physical body. It really is this relationship with yourself and allowing and nurturing yourself to be you. There is much magic to unfold and much magic to spark. It does have this energy of dragons within it, meaning just representing these higher planes of dimensionality within you and access to powerful healing, powerful visions, and really being able to cultivate that on a regular basis. But it does take, you can't bypass this. It's like, how are you human? It's not about bypassing the human experience, is about integrating with the human experience. So how do we experience those things while being human and while being your personality? You're not meant to be this martyr where you have no identity and just are overly giving. You're meant to experience the great I am, like your love of self is an expression of your love for the divine, right? And so it's this beautiful partnership, and then you choose and you co-create together what it is that you want to manifest and what it is that you want to experience, because you're doing that anyway. So why not do it consciously? You're creating your reality, I mean. So the mouse is a really interesting thing. So it comes at this time, no matter when you're listening to it, that if the world seems like there's so much going on, the chaos, right? Like there's so much going on. It's about this message of going within, being small, like becoming the mouse and focusing on the little details of life, focusing in on just one step at a time. The small things, and that really impact the bigger picture. Like I live in Michigan in the United States. I didn't necessarily have the assets and the revenue and the know-how to even impact a suffering state in China or in Vietnam. Now, some people are in positions where they know how to do that and they feel called to do that. But that feels very overwhelming for me. So it's about this becoming present and becoming present in doing what I can in a small way, maybe sending the area love or focusing on just managing my own energy system and thus impacting the greater consciousness. It is about you focusing in on the details of your life, but not just that. It is about, seeing things from a different perspective, a smaller perspective maybe, and focusing in on your current situation, wherever you personally are. That's how you get into this doorway. Its tail here is really important. It's part of your own Kundalini awakening. Tails are always representative of Kundalini, and it's, the mouse is showing off his tail in some ways. He's like, hey, look at my tail. And so in this way, he's reminding you of that embodiment of those other two chakras, to bring you into it, to allow yourself this beautiful expression, whatever your preferences are, to express it. That's part of this teaching. You need to receive, your needs matter, right? So meaning if you like to go on walks, but you're not doing it, if you are single and you want to be in a relationship, advocating for you to be in a relationship and creating steps in that way, small steps to create that. It is about small steps to achieve goals and just focusing on one thing after another, and you'll know what you need to know when you need to know it. I mean, that's part of this new paradigm and the new energy on the planet right now. We used to be able to plan and have such bigger conversations, and now it's like, I don't even know. I can't even see beyond tomorrow, or I can't even see beyond the next year. I have maybe more abstract goals, but I'm just going to hold on to them loosely because it seems like everything's changing so dramatically. So focusing in on the now, saying, hey, what is it that I want to create? I want to create abundance, or I want to create this. I want to create harmony, whatever it is that you're creating, but focusing on your current situation in the now. It is on a platform, the mouse is. So in this way, it's this three-dimensional square, and square represents stability. So this painting is embodying a new form of stability. You're on a floating tree, but there is this sense or this energy out there that's new. It's a new form of stability. It's not just, financial freedom, or I have a relationship and I should be fine. Now there's these deeper needs, these deeper expressions that are coming to be in regards to our physical reality. Meaning it is part of the shaking of these paradigms, right? It's moving from almost like a two-dimensional paradigm to a three-dimensional paradigm. And that's partly how we move into the fifth dimensional expansion, is by embodying all of these things. You can't really talk about the fifth dimensional expansion because it's beyond just understanding it intellectually. It is an embodiment and an experience of all of these things at once. So that is the cube, and he's standing on it. So he's kind of showing you the way to this new dimensional expansion. And this green grass, this is the only space in the painting where we see green. And it is based on the chakra system. So green is the heart. It is self-love. So not an expressive love, but it's a self-love, a self-nurturing. And so in some ways, it is about you learning how to really nurture yourself. And in so doing, this tree is formed and this portal opens. That is the foundation of all of the things that I'm talking about. There's a lot of gold in the foreground in the tree. There is a lot of gold in the tree itself. So it really is your unique connection with divinity itself. It is about this higher awareness, higher connection, leading us back to the stars. And it really is such a magical offering that they're giving us. If you look at the star Sirius closer, you can see that it is embodying the rainbow itself, and how light refracts when it bounces through water. And they really want us to be aware that light and color is changing our experience of these things, and our water is changing on the planet, and thus our DNA. They do tell me that it has something to do with the whales, and how just being open to these experiences and opening to this new magic really does allow for it to come into be. So That's partly what all these other spirals and stars represent, is this magical place, is this magical possibilities that are surrounding us now. It is a very exciting time, so no matter when you found this painting or when you found this video, I hope that this helped ignite something within you. Like I said, meditate. I'm going to add this painting on at the end so you could sit with it for a while with some music and see what it is that you get when you're talking to it. This is a living thing in some ways, so it is meant to interact with you. So, sending you so much love. I can't wait to share what's coming in for November. If you like this video, you like this content, just hit like and subscribe or share it to others. I appreciate it. Until next time.